Welcome to Create a Story You Love. I'm your host, Lorna Faith. This podcast is dedicated to bringing you interviews and inspiration to help first-time and struggling writers take their stories and all their creativity to the next level. You can find the episode show notes and get your free ebook and free access to the Storytellers Roadmap mini course by going to createastoryyouLove.com. Hey Storytellers, and welcome to episode number 61. Today it is Thursday, January 25th, 2018, as I record this podcast. I hope the start of this new year has been wonderful for you. I hope that you've found the inspiration you've needed to reignite your writing dreams and goals in 2018. I had shared at the end of December 2017 a little bit on how to figure out the internal and external forces that will help inspire and motivate you to make your dream necessary. And I've been continuing to learn that by really narrowing down your writing dream and knowing what you really want, it is really the key to keeping you motivated and inspired to do the work needed to be consistent in your writing. And lately I've been reading through Simon Sinek's book called Start With Why. And it has really helped me to get clear on my own why. I've realized that my own why and passion is to inspire people who have been somehow held back from their writing dreams and to help them unblock their creativity and begin to get clear on their own why so that they can begin to be strategic and work toward, consistent practice of reaching their writing dreams and goals. And it's really important for us as writers to begin to get a good grasp on why we want to write, our fiction novel, for example, or series, or the inspiration behind why we are writing the nonfiction book or series that we're writing. And the big reason for the importance of this is because clarity, consistency, and commitment are attached to your big why. So for each goal or dream that you are reaching for, the more clearer you are on your big why and the inspiration and reason for why you are doing what you're doing, the more you'll be able to get through the struggle, delays, fears, procrastination that hold you back from reaching your writing dream. And that's why I wanted to talk today about, something about all us writers face, pretty much every day, which is the struggle of practice. Now, what do I mean by that? The struggle of practice for all of us as writers happens when we're in the thick of things with our writing project. And this usually happens, oddly enough, right after you've told yourself, okay, I'm in this. It's time to do this. Keep up the momentum, insert your name here. And, so you've talked in front of the mirror and you've said, I'm doing this, I'm committed, I'm going to get this done. And then, something happens, right? You feel like you're just got something happened, like one of the kids had a problem, or, something is happening financially in your house and it's just another challenge or whatever. Usually there's some kind of challenge that comes up, right? And even though it's true that making a commitment to write is an antidote to stagnation, resistance, or, our, ever-present dying willpower, it still is true that when we fully commit to doing something, that's when we will begin to be tested. And you've probably noticed this actually in different areas of your life. I mean, I certainly have. When I decided to, for instance, go off of sugar as much as I can, that is when it felt like everything came up to test me, right? And so I think this is normal. We face that. And so it's at this point, when we have made that commitment, this is most likely where we'll find, new ideas, the shiny new object syndrome, right? It comes up and wants to throw us off track, right? But this is also where we'll feel like that newness of the idea for our book or the story we're writing, it's now wearing off, and sometimes we feel like we've entered sort of the non-exciting part of writing our book, right? And basically this is kind of like phase one, frustration, right? It's in the frustration phase that this is where a lot of the struggle and resistance comes in when it's something that you haven't done before. For example, if you are new to writing a book, all this new stuff can seem like it's, that it's just really slow going, and we make a lot of mistakes and we're not good at it yet. And, we don't see ourselves making a lot of progress yet. It gets very discouraging. And, many times we also feel like everybody around us is having fun except for us, right? And instead of fun, we are busy writing our book. And it's also actually in this high learning curve that it just can feel, the whole project itself can feel overwhelming and insurmountable. And it's frustrating because it doesn't feel good. And we're trying to figure out stuff. And sometimes it takes much longer than we expect. And if you can get past the feeling of frustration and really attack the struggle, it's there. There's something that is a bit of a turnaround that happens if you can push and push and push. Kind of like what, where you're walking through a blizzard or whatever. If you can just push on, then eventually something opens up, right? And it helps when you can reach deep within and say, I said I was going to do it, and by gosh and by golly, I'm going to get it done. And, you look past the frustration and struggle, and you just know that you have to get through it. And, the only way to get through this frustration is by good old-fashioned perseverance. And this is kind of where the struggle of practice comes in. And, this is kind of the place where we know a little more now about writing. We've done it for a little while, and then our story is starting to make sense to us. I mean, it's still not easy, though, and there's many days when we just don't want to do this. And this is the place where we're moving into being fully committed. And this is where we just choose every day. And sometimes we have to literally do it every day, choosing to commit, right? And why do we need to choose to commit? Because if you don't get committed, you're going to give up, and you won't get what you want or you need, and you won't become who you need to be, or do what you want, or reach your dreams. And so the best way to get through this struggle is to just attack it. And, basically, it's just, just get her done, right? And this is where we tell ourselves, it doesn't feel very good, but I will get it done anyway. I remember growing up on the farm with my dad, who had 11 kids. And one of his favorite sayings was, where there's a will, there's a way. And, maybe he needed that to get through the tough days with 11 kids and, all the problems that go wrong on a farm. But, it kind of relates to that, because it's as writers, when we're trying to finish our books, to get through those difficult times, you just have to tell yourselves, I don't like it. I don't like what I'm doing, but I'm just going to do it anyway, because now I'm committed, right? And, we feel like we have, when we're doing this, we feel like we're just kind of in a whole lot of pain, right? And sometimes we're doing tedious tasks and teaching ourselves a new way of doing things, and we might not be very good at it, but that's okay, because as we continue to practice, we're learning, right? And we're getting better. This is something actually that I've learned as it's, been over, I guess, 20 years of practicing piano, and even having singing lessons in there too. It was tedious, and the struggle was very real, and especially as I started and to keep practicing every day, and then to go, you hit a level, where you're playing fine, but then there's something more challenging to learn, right? So it's like you're constantly coming up the wall of the learning threshold. But you just keep going, and you get better every day. And writing is like that, because there's always a new learning threshold, and you're coming up against the wall, and you're going to get through it, though, right? You just keep going, you keep practicing, you keep learning, and you keep being inspired and motivated and connecting with other writers. And then it's like this, and then you just start writing, you keep writing, right? And so I just want to encourage you to get concentrated and focused and just get the writing done. This is something I have to tell myself too. So I'm kind of talking to myself here too. And, soon you'll find that time gets away from you as you are deep into the story. And this is the part I love. I just absolutely love this part. When you're focused like that and you're in your creative zone and you're just in the story, like your head is just there, right? It's like the movie playing across your mind. And it's just so fun when you're in that zone, right? That creative zone. And you'll find that as you continue to write, more and more often, you'll get into that creative zone and you'll begin to make big inroads on your writing project and get a lot more done. Not long ago, I heard a story of a writer who shared that he had a grueling routine of writing and focusing and concentrating and committing for about 3 years. And he would go to work and then write in the evenings, and then he would go to bed and do it all over again. And meanwhile, all his friends were buying stuff, having fun, but he was focused on his writing, saving his money for his writing. And he was trying to build a regular writing practice and plugging along and trying to build good habits and write more books. And many times it just didn't feel good at all. But then when it came to his 4th year of writing and, writing his books and doing everything that he needed to do, suddenly many more readers discovered his books. And now it's turned around. He's doing all the stuff that his friends wish they were doing. So I wanted to share that with you because this is, you will reach, this is like an encouragement that you will, once you get to that point, you will start to, see your dreams coming to life, right? But it's in this, getting through the struggle, right? So basically we're attacking the struggle because it's true that we've got to pay our dues, and every writer does this. It's not about, we're struggling for no reason, right? Like when I was practicing the piano every day, it wasn't for no reason, because I could literally see that I was learning more and more. I could see that I was getting better at playing the piano. And writing is the same way. You can see, oh, okay, so I wrote that book, but I learned something actually now that I've written that book. I will do this different in this book. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you're learning with each book you write, which is a wonderful thing. And so struggle makes you grow, and it produces perseverance, humility, and tenacity, and all those great things that you need in your character to be able to sustain anything you get, right? And basically, as you attack the struggle, it's not forever. That it's usually the starting time where it's the struggle seems to be a little bit, more intense, I would say. This is what I've noticed, even as I compare learning singing and piano and compare that to writing. It was the beginning part that was the hardest. But as you grow, I don't know if we just get used to that there's going to be a few obstacles. We just have to, put our head down and get through it. I don't know if that's maybe part of the perseverance that you're learning, or maybe it's the character that's being built within you. But that the huge frustration stage is only going to last for a little time. There might be, there's going to be a continued struggle to practice and just to get through. But as you stay focused and as you stay concentrated and as you commit, you'll start to understand things. You'll start to figure things out as you stick with it. And this is just, this is just part of that practice and the struggle of practice, right? So I just encourage you, don't run or hide from the frustration of struggle. Don't find yourself saying, this is too hard. Maybe I'll come back to it later. Don't go and do anything but what you're working on, especially when you're in that time block that you've said, okay, this is writing time, right? And because usually that hard part in there means it's like an indicator that this is exactly the thing you should be doing, because this is going to be maybe a little breakthrough for you in your writing, right? And so stick with it. And as you continue to learn from mentors, because iron sharpens iron, we don't want to always go along the path of comfort, right? We want to achieve the goals that we want, right? And, including, writing more books, having more readers, doing our dream, having increased finances because of our books that more readers are buying, right? So all of these things, having that scalable residual income, but we need to go through that frustration of learning a new skill. And sometimes it's going to take that feeling of, I'd rather be doing anything else but this, right? And but this is where we have to say, I'm not going to negotiate. I am going to fight for it, right? And this is true of anything, really. I think any dream is like this. From what I've read, a lot of biographies and stuff, it seems this is true. Life will test you, right? There's going to be resistance. There's going to be a little bit of a struggle, but you can get through this. And if you do something that you really want, it's just gonna take commitment, right? And so today, I just want to encourage you that just to stick with it. And if you got to attack the struggle and get down into the mud and wrestle with with yourself or with whatever, just do it. Just go in and say, I'm not going to quit. I am just going to get through this, right? And be tenacious about not only grappling with your struggle to practice, but have the expectation that you're going to get better. And I think that's key too. Have the expectation that as you keep writing, you will get better. You will learn more. You will learn with each book you write. And that's a beautiful thing. I noticed that with piano. I can always relate this back to piano because it's so true. And I noticed that with my students, that as you keep practicing, and this does relate to writing because they're both practices, right, where we keep practicing, you will get better. You'll keep learning new keys. You'll look back and you'll say, I missed that in that other book, but you know what? I know how to transition now. I know how to transition that story, or I know how to make that more the protagonist and the antagonist more compelling now. I learned that from that last book. Now I'm going to make it better this time. And these are keys, right? This is what we learn. This is part of that practice. And so this is part of practicing. This is part of what we're learning. And basically, deliberate practice has, two main components, really. Getting that vision that is really clear, and then also getting feedback on what you're writing, right? So when you going back to vision, when you get a mental picture of what you're wanting to happen, what the goals that you're wanting to achieve, when you get a mental picture of that, that will help you to have a benchmark of what it looks like when you have achieved your goal, right? So being able to have a real clarity on that says, I have succeeded when I have produced this book, when I've written this book, or when my when I'm getting so much income maybe from your books or whatever. If you put this in picture form, you could draw it out in your journal too, but when you have that picture in your head, you reach your goals faster. And this is actually from that book, Peak by Dr. Anders Ericsson. And he's got so many great thoughts in there, but it's so important that we have that vision, right? And then number 2, getting the feedback on what we're writing, right? So being able to say, I've done this, but I haven't done this, or I haven't done this well. I still need to learn this. It's really helpful when you can have share what's working and what you're struggling with other writers, and then they can get back to you. And that's the wonderful thing with the world of writers. I've just found the community of writers just amazingly helpful. And, they often say things like, well, that's good, but have you considered this? Like when you're telling them your storyline, or even when you're talking to them about productivity and what's working for you. And they can say, well, maybe you could try this, right? Or sometimes I've needed writers to say, okay, this is I'll just say what I'm doing as far as my productivity and how I'm struggling with doing so many things, which is AKA normal for me. But they'll often come back to me and say, okay, that's good, but is that really the priority that you need to be working on right now? All right, so it's really good actually to have these tips and advice and feedback from other writers. And it's really what it is that it's that outside observer's advantage, right? When someone is outside of you and not emotionally connected, they have the advantage of being able to see some things in what you're doing that you might miss because you're so close to it and you're emotionally attached to what you're doing, right? And so when you have that new perspective from someone who's observing from the outside, it gives you a new perspective and it helps you get clarity on, your project, where you're going, just insight. It gives you insight, right? And so, and this is why it helps then to have written down in your journal or wherever you write it, but to clarify, what your big why, right? And even write down what your writing practice looks like every day, and then just take notes on, on what worked for you every day. So maybe in the morning you write down, okay, this kind of worked, but I was so tired. And then, and so my writing only got a couple hundred words in. And then maybe you write in the evening and you say, well, this worked better because I was able to focus better. So then maybe that helps you discover, oh, it works better if I write in the evenings, right? And so this is where we learn to look, we gain clarity and we learn to look for cycles of when we have that natural energy, right? And the writing practice, it's like it's exponentially helps us when we get good feedback and when we have that, the wisdom from others who look in on what we're doing and give us strategies and tips on how we can make adjustments along the way, to reach the vision of where we see ourselves and our goals as authors, right? And so vision and feedback really work hand in hand, right? And there's many ways to get feedback, like accountability partner, friends, coaches, we're just looking for at really people who will just look at what we're doing and just be honest with us. That's really what it is, right? And also what helps, actually, what I've found is when I keep writing in my daily journal, because then it's, it's there, right? It's on black and white. I see it. Oh, shoot, that's what I did. And, you can look at that and you can say, okay, so I got to tweak that, right? So that's an honest, dose for the day, right? Looking at your journal. And then write down in your, at the end of the day, you could write down too what you actually got done, which is another honest dose for the day. So doing these things really help. And of course, practice must be, deliberate, right? We must be committed and, have a vision of who or what you're going to be or produce, and what does it look like what does success look like for you? And it's different for everyone, right? Some people want to have go the traditionally published route, and that's what success looks like for them. And then other people want to go the self-published route, and they want to be able to handle things on their own and to be able to have a higher percentage of royalties, and and they don't mind sort of delegating all the extra stuff that you usually have to do when you're an indie author or a self-published author. And because they, they have this, that's their vision of success, right? And so these are important things to start to learn about yourself, right? And so deliberate practice really is, as you start getting feedback and stuff, you'll start to see, it'll start to increase the impact of what your vision looks like. And many times I've noticed, actually, not just in myself, but in others too, we have a tendency to sort of lowball our abilities to affect change in ourselves and in others. And so as you're tweaking your vision, it might become more vivid of what you can be and what you can do. You might surprise yourself, right? Which is a wonderful thing. And, really, this is going to happen with just kind of like what we were saying before, with diligence, consistency, and effort and concentration. This is what's going to help us to win, right? And, so I just want to encourage you to, to start getting that feedback. That is really going to help you to reach your goals. And there's one last thing, actually, that I have learned that really helps. And in fact, I would say it's one of the keys to reaching your writing dreams and goals, is to have that intensity. To be intensely focused and passionate is a key ingredient for anyone who reaches their dreams. And intensity is really birthed in your values that cause you to care about something. And that desire for something or someone bigger than yourself gives you vision, which leads to this big, it just really ignites your hope, right? Is really what it does. And, to create intensity, it really happens when you bring into your life the keys of values, vision, unity, hope, and accountability. And when you have these keys, intensity increases and strengthens as more and more of your life flows from these habits. And like we mentioned earlier, intensity is also a decision to attack the struggle, to have passion, and to purposely put power into your thoughts and actions. And you have to have goals flowing from your values and your vision. You have to have the strength and the energy to run through roadblocks and never look back until you reach your goals. I heard this, or read it, I think, this quote from Betty Davis. She summed it up well when she said, "The key to life is accepting challenges. Once someone stops doing this, he's dead." I thought, that's pretty true. And so having this focused intensity to reach your writing dreams changes a mediocre person into a warrior who won't be denied. And, I've heard it said that if you want something that you've never had, you'll have to do something that you've never done. So instead of keeping the same old, right, how we've always done things, we need to change some things to get more passionate about our writing dreams, to do really what it takes to get us there. I had read recently, someone had asked Thomas Edison, what is the first requirement of success? And he had said, it is the ability to apply your physical and mental energies to one problem incessantly without growing weary. So if you get up at 7 a.m. and go to bed at 11 p.m., you'll have put in a good 16 hours. And it is certain with most men that if they have been doing something all the time, the only trouble is that they do it about a great many things, and I do it about one. And if they took the time in question and applied it in one direction to one object, they would succeed. So really, he's basically saying that when you're intensely focused on a singleness of purpose, right? So finishing your book or getting that series of books written or whatever it is for you, these are common denominators for that successful people share. And focus really does have the power to create, that permanent change where nothing else will. And you can focus. You can endure anything really for a short period of time. And so, if you have writing goals that have been short-circuited because of a lack of focus, or maybe even a lack of vision and feedback, I just encourage you to begin to have that deliberate practice. First, write out your why, your big reason and why, and then start to get strategic and get focused on having that deliberate practice to, write every day or a certain amount every week, whatever works for you, to get your book finished. And, do you continue to procrastinate out of fear that your writing isn't good enough, or that you believe you won't have readers who want to buy your books, or maybe you're just unsure how to begin? If that's you, just know that you're not alone. It's true. You're not alone at all. This is true for all writers that I know, anyway, who are beginning their books. There's so much fear and insecurity that we have that, writing isn't good enough, that no one's going to want to buy our books, no one's going to read what we've written, or how do I do this? I know this is exactly what I faced when I started seriously writing about basically 8 years ago. I was just so confused and overwhelmed. I thought, how do I do this? And I've noticed that I put it off. I kept putting it off because it seemed so overwhelming. And I think that's true of a lot of writers. Most of us keep putting it off because, one, it feels overwhelming. Two, we feel a lot of fear, so we procrastinate and we put it off. And, three, we feel like, oh, well, I just have so much other things to do that need to be done right now anyway. But here's what happens. By putting off your goals and dreams, this only means that you lose the chance to create the things that you want to create, and you lose the chance to reach your writing dreams that you really want, all the while you're trudging through the chores and the, of daily life. So if you're tired of waiting and procrastinating and putting off your writing dreams, and you would like a step-by-step simple process on how to brainstorm, outline, and write your book from start to finish while you connect with a group of other beginning writers who are excited to reach their writing dreams, then I encourage you to check out the new membership website, the Storytellers Roadmap. This membership website, I've just opened it up actually for the very first time. And this is a place, a website online where writers can learn, they can encourage each other, they can give feedback and accountability to create and practice and begin to focus on achieving their writing dreams and goals. The Storytellers Roadmap is only open for new beta members. So basically what that means is those who don't mind getting it on the ground floor, right? Because it's kind of like a pioneer members thing, because it's just the first time. And because it's the first time, it's also at the lowest price possible right now because it's just starting. And this will be available until February 1st, 2018 at 11:59 p.m. EST. So if you're interested, you can learn more by going to www.thestorytellersroadmap.com/start. And I just encourage you to check it out. But whether you want to join the Storytellers Roadmap membership or not, I want to encourage you not to wait any longer to achieve your writing dreams. I just encourage you to write down your big why. Read and listen to what inspires your writing dreams. Talk about your writing dreams with your family, your friends, those who love you. And, speak out loud your goals and affirmations and remind yourself every day of what you really want. Make a list of things you love and inspire, that you love and that inspire your creativity. And do connect with other writers and with mentors who are motivated. Write down your goals and dreams every day and begin to commit to reaching them. Get intensely focused on reaching your writing dreams and don't quit. And it won't be long until you are the one that's saying, I did it. I've not only written one book, but many, and I'm reaching more readers and making money doing it. And that will be an amazingly exciting day. And I certainly hope that one of these or a few of these thoughts help you to discover what is necessary for you and how to reach that committed and intensely focused place of practice to reach your writing dreams. And meanwhile, I wish you all the best as you continue this new year and begin to take practical steps to achieve your writing dreams. Talk to you later. Thanks for listening today. I hope you found it inspiring and helpful as you continue to write amazing stories. You can find other episodes at createastoryyouLove.com/podcasts. If you like, you can also get your free book and access to the Storytellers Roadmap mini course by going to createastoryyouLove.com. If you'd like to connect, you can find me on Twitter at createastorylove, or you can find me on Facebook at createastoryyouLove. See you next time.